morning. Good morning. Good morning to you all. Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Today, Wednesday, the 27th of July, 2022. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And again, as I said, you know the drill. Just share the live stream. Share the numbers are already mounting. Share the live so we can get people involved. We have lots and lots of things to tell you about this morning. Lots of interesting subjects. So welcome. I noted that the regulars, some of the regulars were here very, very early. Dudley, welcome. Dudley, my friend from Jamaica. Vibord was here. Denny is early. Lenny, you came in, but Dennis was here before you. Denny beat you to the punch. I see Colin is here. Vanessa, Mark. Elise, you're here. And Lenny was asking for you a while ago, Elise. So let him know that you're here because, you know, he likes to quickly find people. He don't want to give you any little grace period. The man is a cruel man. As soon as you're late a couple seconds, so he want to tell you that you're late. He want in this hard guava season, when things so tight, he want to tell you about taking away base pay. Welcome, Selwyn. Welcome. He wants to tell you about taking away base pay in this hard guava season. So let him know that you're here early and you were here before him. So you have the authority. I am conferring on you the authority to deal with him. Well, not necessarily fine. But you know, we spoke last week about the warning book. We're going to write them in the warning book. But we can't keep writing them in the warning book all the time. At some stage, we have to take formal actions. But we give them a little grace period. Because as we know, he has been there early most of the times and perhaps might have a justifiable excuse to come in late. But I'm leaving that to you. I am not going to dictate. Denise, you will determine what punishment, if any, is going to be awarded to the latecomers. I see people wishing me happy birthday. Yesterday is my birthday. The 27th of July is my birthday. So today's a special day. Apart from the fact that we'll always say that this is a good day because this is the day that the Lord has made. We should rejoice and be glad in it. For me, today is a special day. And we're going to talk about that a little bit, a little while. But in the meanwhile, share. Let people know that you're on. Denise is saying she had it in the warning book already. So therefore, watch yourself. You're in the warning book once. I don't know if she's going to allow warning again for a second time, but it is up to her. So thank you. I see Ulrich is here. Lenny, Audrey, Selwyn, all the way from Canada. Then, as I said, Lenny is here. John, Ulrich, Donette. We have GT Rudgal. Welcome. Frankie, Scotty. Welcome, Scotty. Welcome. Yvonne from the Bronx is here. Thank you, Yvonne, for being here. Lado is a regular. Lado is here. Lado here, they want somebody to run the construction section. Seeing that they're promoting civilian and doing all kind of thing, maybe you'll want to go back. So even when you're out of the job now, you could get promotion. So Lado, you might want to put in your application. Joan is here. Winston, Aubrey, and Jem, Chilo is here. Mark, Jason, and so many people. Floyd, Desiree, Sandrina, Barbara, Jacqueline. Welcome, Jackie. Simone is here. John Shortman, Momo, my friend Momo is here. Shortman is here. Welcome. Doreen, Squatty, welcome all the way from Canada. Wendy, Joyce, welcome. The countryman, George is here. My countryman from Republic Drive is here. Lynette is here. So many people. Mary spoke to me this morning, a regular on the program. She called me to wish me happy birthday. Thank you, Mary, and welcome again on the program. Of course, my dear Tessa is here. Tessa, welcome, Tessa. Derek is here. Mark, and so many persons are here. Welcome. And you're not going to be disappointed today. You're not going to be disappointed. So let me say welcome again and to say that once again, this is the day that the Lord has made. We should rejoice and be glad in it. And yesterday is my birthday. People are gonna ask, how old are you? They're gonna ask me all sorts of questions. And let me say this to people like Denise and Elise and Lado and all of them. I had all the years, I knew my birthday. They told me from very long that my birthday was the 27th of June, sorry, 27th of July, 1955. That was there on my birth certificate, the only one that I ever had. I never had other birth certificates, and I did not have any controversy surrounding my age like others. I know my birthday. I know one birthday, 27th of July, and it was a Wednesday. The 27th of July was a Wednesday like today. I was born. And you know, I was born. I wasn't dropped. I wasn't hatched. I was born. I was made good. And you know, looking across at the I think one of the dailies had an article and they just choose the pictures that make you look so bad. So the picture, one of the pictures got me looking kind to them, and I see a man commenting basically saying that you're an ugly man and all that type of thing. So I don't mind. I don't mind. The good book say that we are all made in the image of the Lord. So I don't care what they say. They are not going to deter me. They are not going to stop me. Good. Imagine Denise, Elise, you the people who got to comment on this. Imagine a good-looking man like me want to say a thing that I am an ugly man. You know, in the TSU back in the day, we used to get competition, and I want to know that I was never entered into the competition. I never qualified to be in the competition. And for those of you who don't know what competition I'm talking about, we used to have the SUM and the JUM competition. That's the abbreviation. SUM and JUM. But for those of you, the TSU oldheads here gonna know. But those who don't know, SUM was a senior ugly man, and the JUM was a junior ugly man. So I never qualified to go in those competitions. So they could come again. These jaggerbots and trench crapo and amphibians want to look at a good, well-made man like me. I mean, today I'm 67 years old. Proud of it, man. Proud of it. So they can say what they want to say. I am going to be here. They can call me wherever they want to call me. Give me their title, the crapo and the jaggerbots, INK, at the about, as a man would say. But in mean by sharing it, damn, today's my birthday, I can take some leverage and share the damn live stream and let people know that speaking out, exposing corruption and incompetence is on. Share, and we are going to be ready to go in a short while. My companion, my co-host is already in the studio, waiting, ready and raring to go as usual. Ready, waiting and raring to go. So share the stream and let's get going. Let's get going. Somebody said, at least you're right. I am stuck on 54. I am stuck. I keep moving on. I am moving on. And Carol, yes, my dear, my sister Carol, you gotta laugh. Ulrich 67 it is. A proud 67. A proud 67. Come on. Welcome, my friend, come on. So I don't mind what I said. They start moving away from the message and they want to call me an ugly man. Me, an ugly man. Look at me. Good looking me. They want to call me ugly man. No way. That ain't gonna stick. The birthday is not going to stick. The birthday is rolling on. And the names that they want to give me, those names are not going to stick. We are going to be here and we are going to tell you the story and we're going to move on. So they're not going to distract me. They're not going to distract me. Thank you, Dexter. Desri, thank you very much. Chen Singh, thank you, Godfrey. Gary, thank you all very much. Now let me move on. And perhaps I should start, you know, we would normally try to keep you updated, and I think I should in terms of the persons who may have passed. And it was deep regret that I have to inform you of the passing of, I think she was a superintendent, Pat White. I remember Pat White used to be at Force Control, and then sometimes she was at the police training college. She was the wife of Eggy White. Those of us older folks will remember Eggy. At the TSU, we used to refer to Eggy as even though he was in charge, we used to refer to him as the compound sentry. He man like walk around the compound. Management by walking about. He walked about to see if things were in order. So, but we used to refer to Eggy as the compound sentry. But Eggy's wife, I think he passed some time ago, Pat White, passed recently. The information is she was in, I think, New Jersey or New York, and she was cremated sometime recently. And then A few days ago, we got the word that retired Inspector Edward Green passed away a few days ago. Edward Green was at the training school as a drill instructor. He was one of the guys who came over from the National Guard with Larry Lewis. Remember Edward Green, Monica Light, um, Gorick, and some of them came over from the National Guard. Green was at the training school for a number of years as a drill instructor. I remember him well. He was prominent in the athletics. I think he was a field athlete. Used to throw javelin, shot put, and things. So Edward passed recently. And then only this morning as I was preparing to come on the live, I got word that Joe McPherson, retired Sergeant 7735 Joe McPherson passed. Joe is a man, if you remember, he used to be in charge of the armory at Brickdam. He was the man who used to issue firearm out of Brickdam. West Coast Bobby's man. I got the word this morning that Joe passed. I want to take this opportunity to express condolences to the relatives, friends, and family of those persons who have passed, and to say, may their souls rest in peace and rise in glory. But let me bring in my co-host, Mr. Conway, at this stage. CC, I'm sure you would have heard of those passings, and welcome to the program, and for your opening comments.
Thank you, Paul. God has been great to us. We're still in the land of the living. Yes, I know Pat White. When I was an assistant superintendent, she was a superintendent. She was my immediate supervisor at the college. And Green inspector. Remember, he came over from the National Guard as sergeant. He was a sergeant for a long time, and I was instrumental of him being an inspector. I remember we had our promotion board, not like what they that isn't existing now. And I put up his name, and we had some good discussions. And then he was promoted to inspector. Permit me at this stage to use your program to make a announcement, at least free of cost, because I want to say happy birthday to one Mr. Paul Slow, who is 67, and as I know, he has one birth certificate. I want to wish him well on behalf of many persons who called me and asked me to say happy birthday to him, including former members of the police force, civilians. And I want to say a few things in cricketing terms. I know he was a cricketer of no mean order. I know he's been doing cricketing work for Cricket West Indies. But Paul, I want to tell you that you need to take it light. When Brian Lara scored his 375, broke the world record, he had 99 singles. When he made 400 not out, he had 139 singles. So singles can do it. Take it in singles, avoid the sharp singles. And most important, Paul, bat in the crease. Don't hit across the line. You're not Viv Richards. And also protect yourself. Protect yourself, especially your fingers. Remember, you would have to use your fingers to grip the bat, to hold up the bat. So protect yourself, particularly your fingers. All the best to you, and I want to wish you a happy birthday. Cheers.
Thank you much, my brother. Let me take a little bite, drinking water. Maybe I'll have something stronger a little later. But thank you very much, CC. Much appreciated. As I've said, I am not ashamed. I think I'm looking good for my age because many people have not seen this age of 67. I know that I'm not the youngest. At the same time, I know that I'm not the oldest. But I am proud of my age, and I've always maintained what my age is. And I believe I might be on the record because when the time came for me to retire, I was happy and ready to go. I ain't make no fuss. I ain't forged no board certificate. I went when the time came for me to go. I would wish that others would have taken a page, but they could have give them the whole book if they want. So, yes, those persons have passed. We wish them, we wish the families, well, condolences to the families and so on. And, well, at some stage, at some time, we all have to go. And we have to to prepare for that inevitable update. But CC, moving along, I was very concerned and disturbed. Last week we spoke about a policeman across the river. I think Edmondson is his name, who was struck in the eye, according to the police corporate communication unit, with a piece of brick. Now, this is a dangerous piece of brick because the release or the update is that the man has lost his eye. The policeman lost his eye. And the surprising thing, it was carried in the newspaper. But I have not seen a word from the police association. I have not seen a word from the same police corporate communication unit who like to jump out and make all sort of foolish statements. I have not seen a word from the Ministry of Home Affairs. Nothing at all. Have you seen anything?
Nothing at all. Maybe if it was political, we would have seen things. They're not looking after the people welfare. The welfare department, nothing at all. Even the association of former members of the police force, no nobody, nothing at all, man.
Yeah, but I mean, it is sad. This is a policeman who's on duty, get into an encounter with a family. And, when you look at the thing, I think the man who they said, "Tell this piece of brick," and I got to emphasize piece of brick because I try to figure out what a piece of brick is, but it's a dangerous piece of brick. So there's got to be piece of brick was something unheard of by me. The man was pelted with a piece of brick, lose his eye, and then I am wondering because the report from the police claimed that the family members of the assailant held on to the police and they were involved. I didn't see anything that they were charged. So how come if this thing happened, this one man, the driver, fell the brick, but based on what the police release says, the family members, I think the wife and his father, held on to the police. So I don't know, they haven't said it that they were charged, but one would expect that given what they have said, that those persons will be charged as well. If they have not done so, I hope that they hasten to make sure that justice is done in this case. This man has lost his eye. Not meaning he'll lose the work because perhaps he will continue. He might get disability, whatever it is. But this is something that I would have expected the police association to come out strongly against, to let the policeman and the policemen know that they are behind them and they are not going to tolerate this type of behavior. They should have been the ones calling for charges against all the family members. What say you, CC?
I agree with you, totally agree with you. Here is it, policeman being assaulted by two members of the family, the brother, I think the sister and the father, and nothing at all, no, nothing but charges. They should have been before the court.
But even before this unfortunate development in the policeman losing his eyes, given the circumstances that they outlined, those persons should have been charged at the same time with the person who threw this piece of brick. But that is what you have. That is what you have going on. And the man who sits in the chair of administration spoke about morale and all of that. These are the type of things that will contribute towards the lack of morale by members of the force, not the nonsense that he was talking about. So I would hope, because they listen, they listen and they have discussions, I understand. And so I will hope they will listen to this and make sure that charges are filed against those persons. Now, how do we know that they listen? Again, last week we spoke about a proposal to rename the Felix Austin Police College to the Guyana Police Force Academy. I wrote a letter. I remember other people came out in the comments and the people said that, look, this thing should not be. I shouldn't say I was shocked, but a few nights ago, I saw the National Security Advisor. But before we go there, the report is that some person from Stabrook News called the man who sits in the chair of administration and asked him about this proposed name change. And according to Stabrook News, he said that he was not going to comment on the issue, and they claim that he abruptly hung up the phone. That was a very, very rude and unprofessional behavior to hang up the phone on a journalist or a reporter, whatever it is, who would have called you in connection with an issue that had gained public attention. They said the man hung up the phone and nothing. Then the police corporate communication unit issued a statement saying that this decision was taken sometime in October last year because of some collaboration with the University of Guyana. And a few nights ago, the National Security Advisor came out to say that no, the name is not going to be changed. The name is not going to be changed. It will remain the name of Felix Austin. While they're going to change the college to academy, the name Felix Austin will remain. And then last evening, I think it was, the police corporate communication unit again came out with a statement to say, well, talk about speculation about name change. There was no speculation. There was no speculation. The admin man said the name would have been changed. When the admin man was asked by Stabrook News, he said he has no comment to make. And according to Stabrook News, he hung up the phone, rudely hung up the phone. So what speculation? CC, what is your take on this?
Just like you, I was concerned, and I also had an article in the Stabrook News a couple of days ago about the change of name. And changing the name doesn't make a police force efficient or effective. You know, I say it's cosmetic. It's meaningless. And I wonder why it took the National Security Advisor to say that the name would not be changed. What about the man who sits in the chair? What about the other one at Brickdam? I understand he was in Brazil, but in this technological age, you know, you could have sent you an email or something. They're doing their own thing, but as you mentioned, they are listening to us, and we must continue to highlight issues where we see things are going wrong, as the case may be, and give them free advice. We're not going to charge them, because if we charge them, Suku going to come to us, and we get another conspiracy charge, as the case may be.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing about them, the only reason I am convinced, the only reason why they backtrack on the decision to change the name is because of the public outpouring and the comments, which I initiated, and I'm taking credit for that. I am taking credit because I highlighted the issue. Ravi Dev came and gave his point, and others came out and said that this thing was nonsense. I mean, of course, you had a few sycophants wanted to justify and say all sorts of craziness, but at the end of the day, let's see what will happen. And again, I say I am taking praise for that because I highlighted the issue very early and got a lot of support. I'm thankful for those who came out and support, like yourself, in terms of writing letter, those who made comments and said that, look, this is nonsense. This thing should not change because it's an attempt to erase history. It is an attempt to rewrite the history of Guyana and the Guyana police force. So you change the thing, you got to give me praise, but I know had it not been for that letter that I wrote, you would have gone ahead. And that is why you couldn't even give an explanation or a justification to the Stabrook News. And that is why you hung up the phone on them in an unprofessional manner. So I'm not worried about that. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is the, last week, Friday, this matter that I had moved to the court to get an injunction to prevent the installed or the illegal police service commission for making promotion came up in court. It came up in court, and the next day, the headline of the newspaper that also withdraws the matter. Let me explain to the viewers, because my understanding is based on what was written. Unless you went into the article, you didn't get the full gist of what transpired. Now, I moved to the court on the week of the 28th. I think the application, I moved to get an application to prevent the Police Service Commission from making any promotion until the matter that relating to the suspension of the Police Service Commission that I chaired was heard and determined by Justice Gino Prasad. Remember, on the 16th of June 2021, the president unlawfully suspended the Police Service Commission. Now, that suspension was challenged because we're saying that he did not follow the dictates of the Constitution, specifically Article 225 of the Constitution, which sets out a process to suspend members of a police service commission. So that went to court. And we were saying that this police service commission, where the chairman, the legality is questioned. I was saying that they should not be making any promotion until the substantive matter relating to the suspension of the previous commission was heard. That matter, you may recall, is before Justice Gino Prasad. Arguments were raised because the first part of that matter filed by the Police Service Commission is that the president was named as the respondent. That was ventilated because the Attorney General challenged that and said that the president enjoys immunity and therefore he should not have been named in this application. Arguments that went through a process. At the end of the process, the judge ruled that the president cannot be named and ordered that he be removed. The judge then moved to have the substantive matter heard, and at the same day, the Attorney General then said that they were filing an application, or they had filed an application for the entire matter to be struck out on the grounds that the life of the Police Service Commission by that time had come to an end. So that caused a whole set of new legal arguments. At the end of the legal argument, I think it was around March 8th or 9th of this year, the judge ruled that notwithstanding the fact that the Police Service Commission life had ended, he had then ordered, because of the public interest nature of this matter, and this matter I'm referring here to the suspension of the Police Service Commission by the president, I dare say the unlawful suspension should be heard and determined. That is what the judge ruled in March of this year. And what he said the fact that the Police Service Commission life had ended, Paul Slow, who was the chairman and who had signed the affidavit, should be substituted in the place and stead of the Police Service Commission. So I was substituted in the place and stead. The Attorney General appealed that to the full court. He appealed that to the full court. The full court ruled that the order of the judge, in other words, they upheld the order, but they varied it a little to say that there was no need to substitute Paul Slow in the place instead of the Police Service Commission, but Paul Slow will be added as an applicant. So I was added as an applicant to the matter. Following that, the Attorney General then sought leave from the full court to appeal the decision of the full court to the appeal court. He sought leave. And last week, I think it was, or before the last, I can't remember the exact date, the full court denied the Attorney General leave to appeal that matter to the full court. Now, what happened last week is that the matter, when the matter was heard, the injunction, well, even before I go to injunction, as I said, the application was filed and served. Important for you to understand. The application was filed and served on the respondents. The respondent being the Attorney General, the Police Service Commission, that they should not make any promotion. That was served on the 28th of June. You recall, Mr. Conway told us on the 1st of June, the chairman of the Police Service Commission made a statement in response to a question that, look, they are not considering promotion now because they have time, they're going through disciplinary issues and they're going through files and all of that. That was on the 1st of July. That is what the bishop said. He's on tape. The very next day, the 2nd of July, a government order was issued promoting, I think they said 255 posts from inspector to assistant commissioner. Now, I explained last week what transpired there is that once the order, or not the order, sorry, once the application for the injunction was served on them, the handlers urged them or instructed them to make sure that they move ahead with the promotion before the matter could have, a date could have been fixed for the judge to hear the matter. They were instructed to move ahead and make the promotion. So they went ahead on the 2nd of July and they made the promotion. So when the matter came up last week, Friday, the injunction, which sought to prevent them from making the promotion, it was then revealed that the promotions had already been made. So you couldn't go ahead to try to prevent them from doing something that was already done. So the legal people, my legal people said, well, the best thing that we have to do at this stage is to withdraw that application for an injunction, and we will pursue other legal courses. So I give you a summary there so that you can understand. So the substantive matter which relates to the suspension of the Police Service Commission is still going through the process. Still going through the process. On the same day, a decision was taken to wait until the decision from the Chief Justice in respect to the appointment of the acting commissioner of police, because remember the government said, the president said that they acted out of emergency. The term they use is out of necessity. They acted out of the doctrine of necessity. That was challenged. That ruling is to come, I think, is on the 12th of somewhere around then of August. And therefore, in this substantive case relating to the suspension of the Police Service Commission, it was said that they are going to wait and hear what the ruling is in that matter before they decide on the way forward. Because in the meanwhile, the Police Service Commission has retained the services of a senior counsel to discontinue. They are saying that they want the matter discontinued. We are saying, yeah, you can discontinue. That's your prerogative. But we are joined by the full court in the matter, and we are not discontinuing the matter. So I hope that I have cleared it up. Yes, the injunction matter, the part relating to the injunction was withdrawn, but the other matter is still there. The substantive matter is still there. So that is a clarification. CC, you want to say anything on that?
I'm glad you took some time to clear it up because the papers headings were very misleading. Paul Slow withdraw, full stop.
Yeah.
They should have added maybe other legal options will come in place as the case may be. So I'm glad that you took some time and clear it up, Paul.
Yeah, and I'm reminded that the next court date in the substantive matter, which relates to the unconstitutional suspension of the Police Service Commission, is August the 24th.
Yeah.
It's August the 24th, where they're going to determine timelines and all of that. So, so that it is, folks. That it is. The matter is still, the only withdrawal was in respect to the application for an injunction to prevent the promotion from being made. And let me say this, and I'm sure Mr. Conway is going to agree with me. We don't have anything against promotions. When we took over the Police Service Commission in 2018, we immediately sought to fill all the vacancies that were there. We did so again in 2019, and in between there were a few promotions that were made. We started the process in 2020, and if you recall, the only reason the process was not completed in 2020 is because Senior Superintendent Brutus, joined by several others, including the Chevron Jupiter, Prem Narain, Rabindra Stanley, and
Chief Prasad Bakus.
They joined and they filed application in court, a fixed date application, to prevent the promotion, saying that they were being denied on the basis that they had pending disciplinary matters before the commission, and basically what they were saying that those pending disciplinary matters should not prevent them from being promoted. And again, you would recall that was ventilated fully in court on the 28th of June last year. The Chief Justice threw out the application. They lost the case. And that is the time when the Police Service Commission that we were on, I chaired, made the promotions on the 28th of June. And the very next day, the Attorney General, on behalf of the government, said that they are not going to recognize those promotions. So that is where it is. So don't get the impression that the commission chaired by Slow did not want to promote people. We wanted to promote people, but we wanted to make sure that those promotions were in keeping with established guidelines, with established orders, SOPs, and all of that. But that has gone through the window now. And something about the promotion, again, that they already made on the 2nd of July, as we pointed out before, a man who was being investigated in the Quindan Bacchus killing was promoted. I'll talk about that a little later. A civilian who is out the job was promoted. You have people who are being investigated for serious matter, including a man who, under the influence of liquor, lost a firearm in Letem, transferred to the TSU for the investigation. He got promoted to inspector. And it was drawn to my attention recently that you have, CC, I don't know if you see the one, someone or one person get promoted twice. One person get promoted to do two different ranks on the same government order. One person. So the question is, the question is, what going on? What rank they gonna wear? What pay they gonna draw? CC, tell me, man. You try
I,
to unravel this to me.
I saw it, and let me be specific. On the list of assistant superintendent, that person was number 37. And on the list of assistant superintendent on promotion, that person was number 13. Perhaps a person going to draw two different salary every month, you know.
Yeah,
You
but
see,
what they gonna wear?
in the haste to cock the thing, you know, no due diligence and all sort of thing, those things will happen. They want to block you what you put up in code there. So they just run and put up a list there and cause a whole set of corruption and incompetence and all sort of things.
Yeah, exactly. It shows the incompetence. It shows the corruption. We talk about the civilian who's promoted. We talk about the man who was under investigation. Well, the one with the Bacchus case and others who are being, and even some of the senior ones who are pending disciplinary matters. We know them. Pending
Yeah.
disciplinary matters, the same ones who challenge, they're all promoted. They're all promoted. So therefore, there's no question now that having disciplinary matter pending against you, or even perhaps disciplinary conviction against you, those things are no longer a bar to being promoted. No longer a bar to being promoted. So that is where we are. People who pausing up. I mean, I can't recall that ever happening. One person on the same promotion list, the same government order, promoted twice to two different ranks. But I'm not too interested in the money part. I want to see them wearing, they should wear what was the badge of rank for the assistant superintendent, and also wear the badge of rank for the assistant superintendent on probation. Let me get a little comedy. I mean, it's a comedy, so we might as well operate as a full clown and go ahead and do that. And then we understand too that a man who was not even on the list, a man who was not put on the list, later on, somebody was he make move. You know, we just said a make move. Somebody make move, and the man was given a letter for promotion. But in the government order that they hastily put out on the 2nd of July, that man is not there. Are you aware of that, CC?
Yes, I'm aware of that, and I know the guy well too, and I know that what he's involved in, major crime investigation, full stop.
Well. There is where we have it. That is what we have. So that is bringing you up to date with those couple of matters. And then and next thing that struck me, we spoke about this thing last week about the photograph of the chairman, I call him the chairman, the bishop, with the other special branch, posing with 21 ranks, I think, of the special branch, posing for photograph, and the photograph on social media. I understand that following our disclosure last week, that photograph was pulled down from social media. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I'm aware, but the damage was already done. You expose persons who were in deep cover. You expose persons who were uh, in charge of covert investigation. You expose the whole special branch, showing that hey, that the next person in line apart from the head is an inspector of police at the time when that operation went on there. It is so damaging to the division that you expose 21 undercover persons. You blow their covers.
Well, and talking about undercover, because I saw the report in this matter, the same Quindon Bacchus, and people are making a lot of noise because they're saying that all the persons who are involved in this operation weren't named in the report, and the allegation is that persons who were instructed not to mention specific ranks because these special ranks were supposed to be deep undercover, and they were even threatened. I understand that is the allegation that ranks who have to write statement were threatened that if they should mention these names, they were going to be charged for treason. That is what they say. That is what the allegation. But I want to say this: that the fact that special branch is carrying out this operation, as I had lamented before. How you how come you have some concern about people being named in statements? All of them should be named in the statement. That is how statements and that is how investigation is done. All the persons who are there should be made to write statements as to what they did and what they did not do, what they saw, what they all of them. That is how the investigation is done. But I understand that and from based on the report, I saw the report from the PCA, the Police Complaints Authority, and based on that report, a lot of things, a lot of questions. There are more questions than answers. Did you see that, CC?
I saw the report, and I said in earlier programs that I have the greatest confidence in the Police Complaint Authority, the authority, based on previous reports that I've seen coming from the authority. I can recall one where some guy died in a lockups in the Essequibo Coast there. And I saw the report from the Police Complaint Authority, and it was devastating. It was damaged. It hit from top to bottom. Even the man who's right now is in the seat came in for criticism. The magistrate came in for criticism. The traffic ranks came in for criticism. Everybody there, and they were damaging reports. But apart from one person being charged, I think was for murder or manslaughter, nobody else. So perhaps I don't know if the authority felt that, hey, if I put up a report, nothing will happen, or he didn't want to really expose that special branch as the bishop who made an unlawful entry into that location or an ungodly entry to that location, took out several photographs and then posted one on social media. The thing is that I expected much more to come out of the report in terms of recommendations. Charges should have been recommended left, right, and center. There were tremendous offenses committed there, disciplinary and otherwise. But although they were highlighted, no recommendation was made for those charges. And even the persons who handled that file finally, they should have seen, hey, with all these things that mentioned there, all these offenses they committed, although recommendations weren't made, they should be man enough or a woman enough and say, hey, proceed with charges against these persons. There were tremendous charges, Paul. I am disappointed that in terms of the lack of recommendations for serious breaches contrary to the Police Act Chapter 1701 and criminal offenses.
Well, well said. But let me say this. Let me say this. I read the report and I agree with you fully that I would have expected that based on what the report is saying, what is contained in the report, that action should be recommended against others as well. Let me say some of the things that I felt. The report said that following the shooting, all of the ranks, and this is what the report is saying, all of the ranks who were present said that Quindon Bacchus, they heard gunshots, and Quindon Bacchus was the one firing the gunshots at the police. That is what the report from the PCA said. They all said that Quindon Bacchus was firing at the police. Now we know, based on their evidence, based on the evidence of the ballistic man, that that was impossible because he said the gun was inoperable. So right away they all lied. So right away they were all lying. So the question is, weren't they in lying about that, perverting the course of justice? And if you don't want to say, well, they were perverting the course of justice, why no disciplinary charges were recommended against those persons? So, CC, can you explain that?
I really can't explain. And I was thinking for that the PSC is not an autonomous body like the Police Service Commission. And I recall hearing some time ago that the authority had written for his service for his contract to be renewed. And it took a long time. I don't even know it was renewed. That the authority comes under the Ministry of Home Affairs. So all those things, I'm thinking out loudly in terms of that, hey, by if I write certain things, they might not renew me contract or act, and those things might come into play. Although at the same time, I'm saying I have greatest respect for the authority, but then I'm thinking,
Yeah, well, because it shocked me, it shocked me to see charges weren't recommended. Another thing in the report speaks about the senior officer was there. Um, Neglecting to make sure that the scene was properly protected and allowing the main suspect, that is the lawbreaker, to pick up gun and pick up empty casing and all of that. And again, nothing, no charge, department and otherwise, because right away, that is a neglected duty. They said that he neglected his duty. And if I remember, as you know, I used to teach the police discipline act. So right away, there's section 41, contrary to section 41 of the Police Discipline Act, chapter 1701, which says that if you neglect to do anything, which is your duty as a member of the force to do, it's an offense. If you don't want to charge him under 41, then you are 42. Speaks about failing to perform your duty with diligence. And if you don't want to do one or two, then you get section 4Z, conduct to the prejudice of good order, discipline. The point I am making here is that one of those sections would have covered the neglectful action of the officer who was a senior man on the ground and who the report from the authority says neglected to secure the scene of this crime, because a crime. It turned out to be a murder. It was a crime. It neglected to. So it is baffling. And then what I find equally baffling, or even more baffling, is I still can't unravel that part, is the part relating to the sergeant who was charged um, and for perverting the course of justice. I can't understand, because something with the firearm, they established that he never shot the firearm. The firearm was never used, but then subsequent they're claiming that two empty casings that were found at the scene, the ballistic examination showed that those empty casings came from the gun that he was issued with. This thing is very, very confusing. It is very, very confusing. And as I've said, having read the report, I remember Johnny Nash, the song from Johnny Nash. There are more questions
questions
than answers.
and the
There
more
are,
I know, the less I know.
exactly. And also, if you look at the recommendation, the man who got the information first, according to the report, that is, I think, Lance Corporal Simon, who got the report. He went to the inspector, told him of this. The first thing you're going to recognize that once they got the information, they went to the other special branch and they signed off on this operation. No proper verification about the information, nothing at all. Nothing at all was done. And it was recommended that he be charged, I think, for accessory to this murder or something like that. And nothing, all he get is a perverting the course of justice and a discipline charge, recommended discipline charge. So what is going on there? This was recommended. So even though we're saying that we believe more criminal and disciplinary charges should have been recommended, this is a case where a criminal charge was recommended. And as we have always pointed out, the DPP has the final say in this matter. And apparently the DPP feels that there was no need, perhaps no evidence, to support the charge, the other criminal charge against Simon, and so therefore that was not recommended. So as we said, there are more questions than answers. CC, help me out here, man. Help me with this.
Yeah, and thing just went haywire. Imagine the briefing was done at the wrong roundabout. Maybe that's why they went around in circles. And when I was with the FBI, I did a program called Managing That Investigation. And Arthur West Weaver, I talked it before, but this was our guiding principle. This was our team during that program. And let me read it. I have it written. Let me read it. No greater honor, or even no greater honor will ever be bestowed on an officer, or a more profound duty imposed on him when he is instructed with the investigation in the death of a human being. It is his duty to find the facts, regardless of color or creed, without prejudice, and let no power on earth deter him from presenting those facts to the court without regard to personality. That was instilled in us. And when I came back and as a commando, I used to instill this in my death investigators. And this is a case where it wasn't just a death, it was cold blooded murder. And to see that quite a number of things just went haywire in terms of seeing that protected and a whole set of nonsense, too numerous to mention, Paul.
Yeah, but you know what? The worrying thing is that this thing has happened. It has happened. You can't change that. It has happened. One would expect that a proper investigation would point out all the criminal liability, the disciplinary liability, and if there were procedural errors, so that you can sit and you can learn from that to make sure that there's no recurrence. But when you try to sweep things under the carpet, you're gonna run out there. You encounter similar situation, and then you have not learned from this one, so you're likely to repeat the very mistakes. You are not taking this as a learning lesson to make sure to say, well, let's analyze this thing carefully, honestly, openly, carefully, so that we can put proper systems in place. For example, how is the special branch people involved in an operation to arrest a man? How is that done? And as I've said before, if you're going to make arrests, because they point out that look, this operation was, according to the inspector, was to arrest the suspect. No instruction was given to shoot anyone, just arrest. So how special branch involved in arresting? As I know it, even when the special branch would have gotten the information, they're working undercover, they get the information, they carry it into the branch, they would have analyzed and to come up with the authenticity of this information. And the operation, the arresting and prosecution is done by CID and general duty, because remember, once you arrest, you arrest a man for unlawful possession of a firearm, because that was the intention of the operation. You got to go to court. You never want special branch people don't go to court and give evidence. So they're talking about this man who was undercover, and therefore they should not mention him on the statement. But he's there on the operation. He is there on the operation. So what type of undercover he is? What undercover this man could be, and he's there in an operation that involves about 7, 8, or even more other ranks. It is sheer confusion. I'm saying competent people, and I'm using this word carefully, competent people would have ensured that, first of all, competent people, it would not have gone south the way it went. But it's a given, it went that way. They would have sat down, they would analyze what took place, and they would have put systems in place, or at least attempt to put systems in place to make sure that there is no recurrence. They will ensure that there's no recurrence. But leave it as it is with all the unanswered questions. No, I don't think anybody will learn from this, because right now we have a situation where people were complicit. People try to cover up by saying this man shot at them, and the evidence, their evidence, is not evidence that we say. You have evidence on file where some eyewitness is saying that they heard one of the people saying, "Empty the effing clip in it." All of these things are revealed in their report, not our report, in their report, and no action is recommended, criminal or otherwise. No action is recommended against those. You care to add anything to that?
Well, we can talk whole day on it, but it boils down to the top. There's a fish that's rotten from your head. We have let me be frank here, we have a very green man in charge of special branch. And the next person, well, he's now an ASP, next person was an inspector. Several key operators over the past year and a half or thereabout have been taken out from special branch. So the rail operators there, the rail undercover men, they're not there. So things is going to go wrong. And when they want to take it on their own and do what they're not supposed to do, things must go wrong. But you mentioned no proper debriefing, as the case may be. For them, they had no proper briefing. What's the sort of debriefing? You learn a lot from debriefing so that you won't make the same mistake twice, as the case may be. But man, I'm getting upset. So let me stay. I'm going to lose my cool.
Don't lose your cool. Don't use your cool. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about, I mean, we said that the Police Complaints Authority recommended charges, and as we are saying that even if charges weren't recommended, one would have expected that the file would have been perused, a file would have been sent to the DPP, and the DPP would have then decided on what charges to recommend, criminal charges, departmental charges. But one of the things that concerned me is the alacrity with which this thing moved from the PCA to the DPP and then to the court within a day or two. All of that was done. So that we can't only look at the Police Complaints Authority. We also have to look at the office of the DPP. And looking at the office of the DPP, I saw another matter over the past couple of days, and I'm going to read this one. This is a case where the headline screamed at me, murder charge against Sean Bob withdrawn. Then he was charged with killing his 90, that's what they said, murder charge against Sean Bob withdrawn. The facts of that matter is that Sean Bob was charged with killing his 19-year-old stepson, Isaiah Edwards, in January. Now, I don't know if our listeners remember, but it's a matter where it is alleged that the Sean Bob and the deceased mother had an argument, and it is claimed, it is alleged that he was abusive, he was assaulting the woman, and our 19-year-old son intervened to protect his mother, as any caring child would do. He went to protect his mother, and he was stabbed and killed. Now, after he was stabbed and killed, the suspect, Sean Bob, went into hiding. He ran all over the place. He went into hiding, and according to the situation there, he was then caught somewhere on the East Coast, disguised as a female. He dressed in female with clothing. He had lipstick on. He had wig. He was dressed. He was arrested. He was charged for murder. To my surprise, to my shock, the matter is withdrawn. And you know why they say, according to the DPP's chambers, the matter is withdrawn because a post-mortem report on the deceased showed that he died from COVID. They said a post-mortem report saying that he died from COVID. So the question is, on what basis this murder charge against Bob was instituted? On what basis? As I know it, in those matters, the investigation is done, a post-mortem examination would have been done. You get all the statements, including all what the documentary evidence, including the post-mortem report, and that would have been sent to the DPP. And the DPP would have based the advice to charge on that, including the post-mortem report. So how, in this case, a charge is filed for murder, and to discover later, and have to withdraw the charge because the cause of death, according to them, was COVID. Mr. Conway, let me hear you, man. Help me out here.
I know in submitting the report, and for the matter, we dare not charge for more unless we get legal advice from the DPP. Sometimes you might not have the actual post-mortem report, but you clearly state that the post-mortem report say the cause of death is so, as the case may be. But post-mortem report is outstanding. And you can't charge for more unless you have a post-mortem report. But there are so many cases going on the drain. I read this morning briefly the headlines one, another guy got off from murder. I think what two of them in Sophia the charge. One got off before, and another one got off again because they don't have the evidence. So I'm said over and over again, the persons handling those files must be meticulous. They must be able to check things minutely to make sure that there's evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. And if there's evidence beyond a reasonable doubt, dearly, it is the duty of the office of the DPP to clear them up or null pros. Don't say let it go before a magistrate, let the magistrate decide. Don't say let it go before a judge and jury to decide that. The DPP is the supreme authority. And if there is doubt, slap it there, send it back, or if it come back and it's clear up, null pros as the case may be. Too many cases reaching the High Court, and there is not sufficient evidence to convict anyone. We had man 9 years in prison or 14 years according to the judge's calculation, and too many cases coming up now, Paul, that no evidence available, and the prosecutors are admitting that there is no evidence. I don't know
And
what to do.
apparently, no, apparently questions are not asked.
Yeah,
In recent times, you had the Orin Bailey, you had the Two
yeah,
Colors, you had the man who was alleged to have killed the taxi driver, this branch
yeah,
lady. You had the man 9 years in prison,
yeah.
and the DPP was proud to say, well, they did not
Indict.
indict this person, even though they had asked the magistrate for some clarification. On 9 years, the man
Yeah,
spent. Now we have a case where a man is charged for murder. The man is charged for murder, and then they withdraw the charge because the post-mortem examination says that the man died from COVID. And somebody is saying in the comments here, well, no post-mortem was done because the man died from COVID. So that even strengthens the case. On what basis then this charge was instituted? Is it that the police went there and instituted a charge of murder without getting directions or instructions from the DPP? These things need to be gone into, and these things are swept. They come up, the headline screams at you one day, and a couple of days after, everything under this limited shelf life that I keep speaking about. Something is wrong in the system. Something is wrong in the entire system. Now, coming back to the Quindon Bacchus case, I understand from reliable source that all three policemen who were charged in this matter, McLennan, Simon, and the Nabriga, have been dismissed from the force. I understand that all three have been dismissed from the force. I want to say this, and y'all listen to me carefully, don't jump and make noise. There is something that we call one of the police handlers love to talk about the rule of law and natural justice. And I know as a trained law enforcement officer, there is a concept of the presumption of innocence, where it is said that you're presumed innocent until proven guilty. I would like to find out, and perhaps the police public cooperation unit can tell the public on what basis these men were dismissed when they were charged and the trial has not even commenced. On what basis? And as I know, I suspect there's a particular lawyer who we know very well going to be smiling, because they're going to challenge whether they're convicted or not. They are going to challenge it in court, and they are going to win. Because once a person is charged, once a policeman is charged, the correct thing is that that person should be interdicted pending the outcome of the charge. And pending the outcome of the trial, the trial, when that is finished, depending on the outcome, you decide on the way forward. But I know these people are going to go to court, they're going to sue, and they're going to all win, because you can't. There's a presumption of innocence. There's a rule of law. You have to go through the process. Though even the man who was charged with murder, the man is presumed innocent until proven guilty. See, you just talk about the rule of law. Do you want to make a comment on that?
You are so correct, Paul. And I always used to say that I like to quote the Bible, the right to be heard, a God-given right. It's starting in Genesis. It's starting in beginning when Adam and Eve committed themselves. Although the Lord knew he didn't pass judgment, he asked them what took place. And it is a God-given right, and we must not take that away from anybody. Hear the other side of the story before you pass judgment. And in these current cases you mentioned, they got to go through a trial, and we await the results of the trial. So it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end, Paul.
Yeah, Dennis is asking the question, how were they dismissed without the trial? It's the same question I'm asking, my dear. It has happened before, but in every case where such an action is taken and the people challenge it in court, they win. Because there's a presumption of innocence. You cannot. And I know they're going to come to tell you about Section 35(1) of the Police Act, Chapter 1601, about public interest. Courts have ruled that you cannot arbitrarily dismiss a person like that. You have to give them, there is the rule of law. They have to get a chance to be heard. So we got to wait and see what will happen there. As I've said, I know a particular lawyer who the police would normally go to in those matters, and all the cases are won. All the cases are won, and damages are awarded in the millions of dollars to those persons. Now, the last thing I want to question, the last thing I want to mention, there was another disturbing incident. Um, a security guard employed by, this is what they report, this is what is carried in the media, the social media. A security guard employed by CMC Reliable Security Service shoots three in attempt to calm a disorderly customer. It goes on to say, according to the police report, the incident occurred on Sunday, that is last Sunday, July 24th, somewhere on the East Coast. The security guard was armed with a shotgun at the supermarket. The victim is a man named Bruce, started to behave in a disorderly manner and was threatening the female staff members at the supermarket. The security guard intervened and asked Bruce to leave. Bruce reportedly refused to leave, and an argument ensued. During this time, Liverpool, somebody who was outside, Liverpool entered the supermarket and attempted to calm the situation. Bruce, however, continued to behave in a disorderly manner, despite being asked to desist from doing so. And here this part, the security guard then opened fire, and Liverpool was struck in his neck. That is what they said. The security guard opened fire, Liverpool. It goes on to say, and this is what the police said. Police said Bruce ran out of the supermarket, but the security guard followed and continued shooting at him, even though he was injured. And then somebody else, Mentor, a man named Mentor, was standing at a nearby shop. Who was standing at a nearby shop was caught in the crossfire. Police said 4 suspected 12-gauge cartridges, along with one life cartridges, recovered from the scene. What really going on? This is Wild West. This is the days of the cowboy story. A man gets into a supermarket, gets into some disorderly conduct, arguing, being abusive, whatever it is, and the security guard opened fire with a shotgun. The security guard opened. I hope by now that this security guard is charged, depending on the nature of the injury, perhaps attempted murder or something, some lesser criminal offense. I hope. CC, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, Paul. They mentioned about crossfire. So somebody else was shooting. You get crossfire and one person shooting. And then what is a security guard doing there with a shotgun? And if you see it happening all over the place, that they guard in a Chinese restaurant and they get AR-15, high power rifles, you see them guarding, and that probably dress also. And it comes back to the getting security status. They're just mushrooming. No proper investigation or diligent investigation is being done on person getting security status. And look at the weapons they're using. Look at the weapons they're using. And at that, what about the training they're getting? And I must submit that part of the training should be psychological training. They must do a bit of anger management, a bit of conflict resolution. How do you resolve conflict? By using the boots, the button, or the bullet? Do you resolve conflict through the barrel of a gun? The whole security section, the private security I'm talking about, needs to be revamped and needs to be checked regularly to see that they're complying with the security, the Private Security Act. Let's check the type of weapons they're using at certain locations, uncalled for, Paul. That's why those things have got to happen. And they pick up anybody too. Not looking at them psychologically. Forcing the argument, and you're solving the argument. You're solving the problem through the barrel of a gun. Maybe you're mousy tongue.
Yeah, well, you're well said, because a lot of things concerns me there. Luckily, thankfully, it doesn't appear as though the injuries are life-threatening. And wow, look. But you made the point, a man with a shotgun at a supermarket, a shotgun at a supermarket, when he fires what you're expecting happen, as in this case, then we had, it's Wild West, because remember not so long ago, A man at I think it was Ramana Princess on the East Bank. Two security guards get into some altercation. The one pull out a pistol and shot the other one in his leg. So this is not an isolated incident which shows that this security firm. I would one of the things that occurred to me when I read this, I want to know perhaps find out what the principles of these security services, and that might tell a tale in itself. And you're right, because you drive around the place or you walk around, and I call out, for example, I said some time ago, I went to the uh, Guyana Revenue Authority, and a man, a special constable, is there with a shotgun. And being a man who was trained tactically, I always ask the question, what is he doing with a shotgun there? Do they not realize that that place normally get dozens, hundreds perhaps of persons at any one time? That if it goes off even by accident, or if something confronts him to use it, innocent people are going to be caught. Innocent people are going to be caught. So what really are they doing? Isn't it time that they, well, recently we spoke about the National Security Advisor and all of those people get together and analyze not only the mushrooming of these security companies, but what process is used to identify and to train persons before they are armed. You give a man a gun, shotgun, and AR-15 assault type rifle, and they're there, and many of them perhaps don't have the necessary training. Maybe they weren't properly assessed psychologically before they are trust with these firearms. And as I said, luckily this person is not doesn't appear to be seriously injured. I hope that this security guard is charged criminally by now, and that they do an assessment. They do an audit of that and more, and the other security companies, because things like these are going to happen again, with perhaps with fatal consequences. And therefore, the time should be now for them to try to assess it. And as you rightly pointed out, the police, the corporate communication unit say that there was a crossfire. What crossfire when you said one man shoot? So all this is a crossfire. I mean, there's not a release that this unit issues that they don't put their foot in their mouth. How can you have a crossfire when you are saying only the security guard fire? Crossfire occurs when more than one person, or when more than one persons are firing. Not when one man shooting a shotgun, you get a crossfire. Then they talk about suspected catches, suspected empty casing. What is it? Man, these people are bare jokes, you know. These people are bare. What suspected empty casing? They were empty casings. You might not be sure about the gauge, so you might just suspected 12 gauge, but you can't suspect that it's an empty casing. It's an empty casing, and you would know, but that's a live round, a live cartridge. So they suspect it was a casing, but it is suspect it was a cartridge. A lot of incompetence, and you know these people getting big money. And I suspect when we speak of these things, they dig their heels in. And say Slow and Connery could say how much they want to say. We NK, we're gonna do well. That is not, I shouldn't say that, because in the case of the naming of the police training institution, it is because of the publicity we gave to that matter where they have decided now they're not going to remove the name of Felix Austin. So perhaps we will continue to speak about it, and perhaps in time, the people, the wiser heads, because they must have some people who get a little sense among all of these people, man. They must have. All of them can't be that incompetent. They ought to be degrees or levels of incompetence, and the ones that are more competent ought to be able to give some guidance. Joel, I fully agree with you, Joel. The copy and paste reporting. They just copy and paste, and then the unfortunate thing, they copy and paste the wrong thing. They copy and paste in the wrong things, and it is clear that no one is there to vet these things before they are released to the public. No one. And the police force, the Ghana police force, continues to look terrible when these releases, when these incidents occurs. Guyana looking bad. You talking about tourism, you talking about oil and gas. And when people go on the internet and read that a security guard can open fire on a man who is behaving disorderly, just like that, injuring bystanders, You want to tell me people might not reconsider coming to Guyana when they see things like that? So you have to look at the bigger picture. You have to look at the bigger picture. And I would say to them, it is time they get together. You have a lot of competent people in Guyana. Come me out. I ain't there in it. You ever want me? I am going to give you my advice here. I know you get a tape. You're going to look back and you're going to listen. Take what you want to take from it. Throw out what you don't like. But make sure that these things are reviewed. I want to finally ask the question again. I want to ask the question again because I noted big meetings in Washington. I noted big meeting with the FBI. I want to know, based on what was said by the man who sits in the chair at admin earlier this year, that use of force in the Guyana police force seems to be a problem to the extent that the United States the State Department has blacklisted several departments and individuals. Up to now, we don't know which are those departments. We don't know who are those individuals. I asked the question on previous program. Are those individuals some of the people who are promoted? I want to ask the question again. Are they the ones who are promoting people according to the police were blacklisted by the United States Department? Locations, that is the word that the man used. Locations that are blacklisted. What really going on? So I really want to know. Cici, can you help me in closing? Can you help me?
Well, they will be in the 54th state, a state of denial. Just how the admin man saying you don't know on a phone, and as the case may be, that they're going to deny things, although they themselves are really part and parcel of it. But Paul, we need to continue, and we need to continue highlighting those acts of unprofessional behavior. I said over and over again that when you are incompetent and you try your incompetent best, you are still incompetent. And I must point out also that there are many competent members of the Guyana Police Force around, but they're sidelining them. But I hope that the paradigm will shift.
All right, thank you, Cici. Um, the folks, that has brought us today. And would normally we close off the thing. To tell you about COVID still being there. Dead people are dying. The numbers are disturbing, mounting again. And therefore we need to take care. We need to protect ourselves. We need to protect our loved ones. I want to close by taking this opportunity to thank you all for wishing me happy birthday. My plans are simple. I'm going to relax and enjoy my birthday, my 67th birthday. I am emphasizing that. Some people have commented that are looking good for 67. The people, some of the crappos and the trenchies and the jagabats and the amphibians saying that Mr. Ogliman and so on. What is there's a beauty in the eyes of the beholder. Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. But I am thankful for the good Lord to allow me to see another birthday. I'm enjoying good health, strength, good company, and I am thankful and happy that people have reached out to me. I have hundreds and hundreds of messages, phone calls, and the like. I suspect that will continue during the course of the day. So thank you very much, and God's willing, God's spirit life. Next Wednesday at 11 o'clock, join me again for another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Bye for now.